Everybody, welcome to Urban U. I'm Ari Goldberg.
And I'm Abby Ashola. We're here at Lehman College, and this month we're celebrating Black History Month.
We're going to look back 50 years at some historic photos taken by a City College photographer who was there at the pivotal Selma-to-Montgomery March. Also, we'll revisit an interview with Colin Powell, CCNY graduate, and we'll also honor several notable African American CUNY alumni. But first,
education has long been an obstacle for Black people in the United States, even to this day. But when African Americans were being turned away from universities across the country in the mid-1800s to the early 1900s, Black women found a haven at Hunter College. In this next piece, CUNY's history is Black history. In 1960, a young Ruby Bridges walked into the William Frantz Elementary School in Louisiana and changed the course of history. It was the day that marked the desegregation of public schools, a feat won 6 years prior after the Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court ruling, a reckoning with a long and troubled past. During the 1800s, Blacks in the South were marred by slavery and eventually the lack of access to public primary schools. In the North, African American children were relegated to very few segregated primary schools, while adults had little to no access to higher education. In 1873, New York state legislation banned discrimination in public educational institutions, but the law wasn't always enforced. Hunter College was the exception. It began as the first all-girls high school in the city and later named the Normal College, where future teachers were trained. By 1873, 8 African American girls were admitted, then another 8 by 1874. After Oberlin College in Ohio and Kansas State University, Hunter enrolled more Black women prior to the 1950s than any other non-Black college or institution. By the 1940s, Black women didn't just attend Hunter, they came and they led. Like Shirley A. Simpson, who served as editor-in-chief of the school's paper. Patricia Williams served as secretary of the student council, and Berith Jackson worked as chairman of the service committee. Black women were also active in the school's Toussaint Louverture Society, a group that allowed African American students to organize concerts and bring in prominent speakers to the college. One of Hunter's most noted attendees from the late 1920s is author, lawyer, and civil rights advocate Pauli Murray. In her memoir, Song in a Weary Throat, she shared how she moved to New York City from North Carolina with insufficient high school credits. Admissions at Hunter advised her to attend a New York City high school to qualify. Thereafter, Hunter accepted her immediately. Later, she became the first Black woman Episcopal priest. Many of the Black women who attended Hunter earned degrees and went on to assume teaching positions, but the fight for equality still continued outside of Hunter's doors. According to Murray, while still studying at the college, she and others struggled to land clerical positions that usually went to their white counterparts. Some were lucky if they found low-level jobs at Macy's. But by facing such challenges while rising above the educational ladder, they had become their ancestors' wildest dreams and inspiration for generations to come. Abby Ashola for Urban U.
It was 1958 when Colin Powell graduated from City College. And in 1997, he founded the Colin Powell Center for Leadership and Service, which then became the Colin Powell School for Civic and Global Leadership. We take you back to 2013 when our own Andrew Falzone sat down with him at its inauguration.
In the Army, they teach you, no matter how cold everybody may be, you're the leader, you're never cold. Troops may be hungry, you're never hungry, you're the leader. They may be tired, you're never tired. And
you're that even keel.
You've got to be optimistic that things will get better. And I think our youngsters don't get enough of that.
And that may be why retired General Colin Powell has maintained such close ties with City College. As a kid growing up in the Bronx, Powell was unsure of the direction his life would take, but that all changed in 1954. That's when Powell began working on his geology degree at City College of New York and stumbled upon what became his life's calling.
You said that when you came here to City College, ROTC was something you connected with. For the first time in your life, you really found yourself. What was it about ROTC that you did connect with?
Well, I was a little over 17 years old when I tripped over ROTC in the summer of 1954. And it was the structure, it was the discipline, it was the guys. You know, when you're 17 or so and you're leaving home really for the first time, you're kind of adrift. And I found a new home, I found a new family. With my fellow students here in the ROTC.
After graduating from City College in 1958, Powell served 2 tours in Vietnam. Upon his return, he was chosen to serve as a White House Fellow with the Nixon administration. In 1987, he would become National Security Advisor to President Reagan, and in 1989, he became a 4-star general under President George H.W. Bush, and later that year was nominated to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. At 52 years old, he became the youngest Joint Chiefs chair. He was also the first chairman to come out of ROTC. In 2001, Powell was again called to serve his country, but this time the general would leave his military uniform at home and serve as Secretary of State to George W. Bush.
As a soldier transitioning into diplomacy, was it harder for you to not be the Army general, the orders get done?
No, not particularly, because I had been National Security Advisor for 2 years to President Reagan, so I kind of understood the civilian side of government. And when I walked into the State Department, somebody said, well, what do we call you, General or Mr. Secretary? I said, Mr. Secretary, I'm Secretary of State.
In 1989, Parade magazine had published your 13 Rules of Leadership. For CUNY students and alumni, what guidelines would you give them today?
The reporter who wrote that article asked me to look at some little sayings I had under my desk glass that he heard about and just read off some of them. And I read off the first 13. Number 1 says, it isn't as bad as you think. It'll be better in the morning. And the 13th rule is a derivative from a military saying, and that is that always think things are going to get better, no matter how bad things may seem at the moment. And I think that's an attitude for young people. They face difficulties in school, they face other difficulties in life, and it starts to get them down. And so, no man, never be down, always be up.
While Powell's military career influenced his tenure as Secretary of State, he already had experience with international relations as a kid growing up in the South Bronx.
When you were a young man growing up in the city, my understanding is you worked in a baby furniture store and you picked up some Yiddish sayings. Did any of those translate, did you get any wisdom or guidance from those later in life?
Whenever I was kind of annoyed with somebody, I've got gesunden keppel, hit you in the side of the head, or a blessing, and depending on how you say it, it's either a blessing or a slap in the side of the head. I preferred it as a slap in the side of the head. The biggest lesson I got from my experience in the toy store was from the Russian immigrant Jew who owned it, Jay Sixer. And after I'd worked there for a few summers and a few Christmas seasons, he pulled me aside and he said to me, Colin, you're a good worker. I love having you in the store, you're part of the family, but listen, you can't ever stay here. You have to get your education. You've got a good family and you're smart, go get your education, make sure you move on. And so I never had any intention of staying in that toy store, but I was so touched that he thought enough of me to tell me that I had the potential to do other things in life and don't think that I should stay there.
Powell became known for his hands-on approach while running the State Department. He plans on bringing that same approach to City College.
I'll be spending a lot of time up here at City. We used to have just a center to worry about. Now we have a much larger school to worry about and 5 academic departments I want to get to know and visit. And so I'm spending a lot more time at City.
Powell has also been granted a distinguished professorship at City College. As the Colin Powell School prepares for its inaugural semester, it will incorporate some of the same lessons that Colin Powell himself learned as a young New Yorker 50 years ago.
What I learned in New York in the multi-ethnic neighborhood I grew up in. Everybody was from somewhere else. Everybody had about the same level of income in the family. So we were all kind of equals, and we had to get along, and we had diverse backgrounds. And I think I learned from that how to sort of respect what diversity is and respect others.
CUNY has a track record of turning out exceptional alumni. In honor of Black History Month, we salute several African American alum who've gone on to break barriers, affect change, and entertain.
From activists to entertainers, politicians, and distinguished academics, the City University of New York has been a launching pad for countless outstanding African American pioneers. One of the most noted is Shirley Chisholm, New York's first Black congresswoman. Chisholm broke ground again when she ran for president as a Democrat in 1972, making her the first African American candidate for a major party.
I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am Black and proud.
Following in the footsteps of Chisholm, New York Attorney General Letitia James, another noted CUNY alum.
And ensuring that young Black and brown children are not held back by a system that is stacked against them.
James made history in 2019 when she became the first African American to be elected to the position. It's no wonder that the Lehman College graduate once tweeted, "Just like Shirley Chisholm, I'm unbought and unbossed."
The executive director of the March on Washington, the man who organized this whole thing, Mr. Bayard Rustin.
Bayard Rustin, City College alum, civil rights activist. Rustin worked alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., serving as the main organizer for the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where Dr. King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. There, he read a list of demands.
The first demand is that we have effective civil rights legislation.
What made Rustin so unique in his role was his status as an out gay man. In the 1980s, Rustin began speaking out about gay rights, like in 1986, when he testified on behalf of New York State's gay rights bill.
Hey, you old drunk. What did I tell you about drinking in front of my stoop?
Hey, Jags, you're gonna be cold.
From starring in A Raisin in the Sun in 1961 to her memorable role in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, Ruby Dee managed to wow audiences for decades with her fierce performances on screen. Off-screen, she too was active in several social justice causes, and she too was there alongside King during the March on Washington, serving as the MC for the historic event. Her alma mater, Hunter College, where she earned a degree in Romance languages in 1945. Audre Lorde, Black lesbian feminist mother poet. A few words the 1959 Hunter College graduate used to describe herself. Lorde became celebrated for her published essays and poetry that tackled issues related to civil rights and the exploration of Black female identity. In 1976, she became an important figure from the Black arts movement after the release of her acclaimed book of poems titled Coal. Lorde returned to CUNY in 1970 as a professor of English at John Jay College, where she fought for the creation of a Black Studies department. Then, in 1981, she became a Distinguished Thomas Hunter Chair at her alma mater. Another Black poet and author to come out of CUNY is Sapphire. Her first novel, titled Push, followed a young girl enduring a cycle of abuse and incest. The book went on to sell hundreds of thousands of copies. Over a decade later, Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry produced an on-screen adaptation of Push and renamed it Precious. The film starred another famous CUNY alum, Gabourey Sidibe, who attended City College and BMCC. Great music and CUNY alum seem to go hand in hand. Christopher Reed, also known as Kid of the iconic 80s rap group Kid and Play, graduated from Lehman College in 1990.
Let me rap, and then we'll consider it.
Around that same time, he also starred in classic Black films like House Party. Kid and Play's rap counterparts Cheryl James and Sandra Denton met at Queensborough Community College, where they both studied nursing. The two have since sold 15 million records worldwide as the popular duo Salt and Pepper, making them one of the best-selling rap groups of all time. Andre Harrell attended Lehman College before he started Uptown Records, for which he discovered artists like Mary J. Blige and hired a young Sean Puffy Combs. Assata Shakur. She is both provocative and acclaimed. In the mid-1960s, Shakur attended BMCC and City College, where she began to form her political stance against racial injustice and later joined the Black Liberation Army. In 1973, she was charged with murdering a police officer during a traffic stop turned shootout on the New Jersey Turnpike.
It was horrible. It was like a prolonged version of hell.
At her trial, 3 neurologists concluded that she was shot with her hands in the air while seated, suggesting her innocence. Still, she was found guilty, but after 6.5 years in prison, she escaped and eventually fled to Cuba, where she was granted political asylum. Today, she is number 1 on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. Those who believe in her innocence hail her as a hero who sought refuge from an oppressive system. Considering all the hurdles that African Americans have tackled, it is no wonder that many of CUNY's Black alum have emerged as shining examples of greatness. Abby Ashola for Urban U.
Digging back in our For the Record's archives, once again, here's a look at Medgar Evers College namesake, Medgar Evers himself. In 1970, CUNY's upcoming Community College 7 needed a name. Martin Luther King and King's College were considered, but ultimately, the committee landed on what we know today, Medgar Evers College. But why Medgar Evers specifically? Medgar Evers himself is often overshadowed in the historical record by his civil rights activist contemporaries. For instance, Evers has no national holiday like MLK, no celebrated autobiography like Malcolm X, no Presidential Medal of Freedom like Rosa Parks. In a way, Medgar Evers is an unsung hero of the civil rights movement, but one no less deserving of accolades. A World War II veteran, after serving his country abroad, he took up the battle to fight for his country at home as well, championing racial justice as the first field officer for the NAACP in his home of Mississippi. In 1955, Evers would be involved in investigations into the infamous Emmett Till lynching, when the 14-year-old Till was kidnapped and killed by a group of white men. And in 1962, he would be instrumental in desegregating the very university that once rejected him, the University of Mississippi. Of course, all of this made Evers a lot of enemies in the Jim Crow South. And on June 11, 1963, mere hours after President John F. Kennedy's famous civil rights address that same day, Evers was assassinated, his murderer only being convicted in 1994. But as Evers said himself, you can kill a man, but you can't kill an idea. And indeed, for whatever accolades have eluded him, it is his ideas that have endured. And the success of Medgar Evers College is just one testament to that legacy. In 1965, Stephen Summerstein, just a student photographer at the time at City College, documented Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s historic March for Voting Rights from Selma, Alabama to the state capital, Montgomery. Let's take a look now at some of his immortal shots.
That's our show for today.
For more info on these or any of our stories, check out our webpage at tv.cuny.edu or any of our social media pages.
We leave you with a performance by Lehman College jazz drummer Victoria Smith.
Bye-bye.
Bye.